Dr. Jazz.
Man, I'll start with the new record. I mean, I have you on so many records. First of all, I thought I was keeping track, but I'm obviously not. But what's the story about the new record? Also, compositions by Greg Hill, so it's mostly not, it's not your music, which you have written so much in the past years, also. And what's the story behind the players and the band is killing, by the way? And
Yeah, thanks. Oh man. Evolution really. I mean,
mm,
just uh, a part of making a lot of recordings and playing a lot as a leader and side person. Uh, Things have to grow and change, and like you said, last I counted, I was up to 65 tunes, 65 compositions.
yeah,
And Positone has been such a wonderful record label. They love
yeah.
supporting my original music. I mean, they would do records of all my originals every time if
You
it
did
was.
record per year, yeah, right?
Yeah,
Almost.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah. So I'm writing. I'm writing every day.
Fantastic.
So meeting Greg Hill here in Lansing and learning about him, he's really an expert on jazz music from the early days all the way through the 70s and 80s. And then he's really close friends with a lot of people in Wynton Marsalis's circle. He's
Mm.
very close friends with Wes Anderson, longtime lead alto player. So he knows so much music, and then he draws upon those inspirations to write his own compositions. So just kind of like growing as an artist, thinking about being more of an interpreter rather than a creator and an interpreter and a marketer and all these things.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to see what I sound like using someone else's material and being inspired that way. It's been really fun. I feel like an alter ego in a sense. Like I get to try things that I would normally would be more hesitant about. It's
Yeah.
like when you're following your own recipe. Um, you really want to be specific, but when I take Greg's music, I feel this type of free hand.
Hmm.
It's really really fun.
Yeah, no, I understand you. I mean, I also, when I lead a band and I write my own music, it's completely different than still being a band leader, but yet playing someone else's tunes, of some of the band members or stuff like that. It's different vibe, right?
Yeah, totally, totally.
Yeah. You mentioned you write every day. Like I listen today to Swing Low, and there's some beautiful music you've written on that one. Like, what's your process usually when you write? I mean,
That's thanks first of all. That was my first record on Barry sax, so it was crazy. Um, but I so when I start writing music, I have to have an idea. It could be rhythmic, it can be a melody.
yeah,
That melody can be the main melody, or it can be a counterline, or a ostinato, or some kind of kernel of like a seed of what the tune is going to become. Um, and then as I start adding and uh, giving context to that piece, uh, the path kind of unfolds. You know, like a tune I wrote recently, um, Seiko Time, or sorry, not Seiko Time, Grand Seiko, started out with this bass line,
hmm,
and then gradually the melody filled in the gaps of the bass line. So it's really kind of a simple approach to counterpoint, but um, the only thing that in the beginning stages I have to worry about is whether I like it or not.
yeah, yeah,
So I try to pick things. If I can keep rolling with things that I like and that work well with the material, then I can write a tune very quickly. And if I get stumped, like Benny Golson says, I'll just put it aside and come back to it later when I'm fresher. And
hmm. It's important. Yeah.
a song from that record is Don't Look Back.
Don't Look Back. Yeah, I just wanted to mention that's a nice one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. Thanks. I wrote that for a really good friend of mine, a great singer named Andy James. And she's got several records out with her amazing band, and she's such a wonderful spirit and has this beautiful, soulful, quite sexy voice. And I was thinking about her, the way that she likes to thread melodies within a certain tessitura range. And
Mm.
so the very first thing that started with that was the do 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 dee do do dee 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 do dee dee dee, right? So
Where you
that's an
sing like,
example.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what that started from the melody, and then I had to pick a chord tone. Like, what am I feeling today? Am I feeling like fourths, or am I feeling
Yeah.
like sixths, or scale degrees, and little technical things like that. Yeah.
Mm. Do you then adapt your tunes to the players? I mean, let's say if you have on drums Rudy Royston or you have Tane, or I mean, because obviously they all can play everything, but still, different vibes of each of those players. Like, do you adapt it or just like give them a lead sheet that you wrote?
Yeah, it's really both
Mm.
because I like both things. That's like, duality is probably like the biggest constant of my life, like growing up, we lived in the lower income part of town. My parents were working really hard, long hours and struggling, but making it. They made it.
Mm.
But I also was raised as an only child, so it's like, poor part of town, only child gets everything. Like my mother is African American, my father is was white. So black family
Mm.
culture, white family culture, it's like everything was there was always like two sides to every coin, and I the yin and the yang. I never got to just chill exclusively on one side. I got
Okay,
really good
good. Yeah.
grades, but then I wanted to be an artist. So my mom's like, be a doctor, be a lawyer, and I'm like, be a sax player, be a trombonist. It's so yeah. So sometimes I'll write things and I'll be happy with the music, and then I want to hear what the band does with it.
Mm. Yeah.
So I'm in that case, I'm not really thinking about writing for the band. I'm thinking about um, what the music's going to draw out of the people I want to play
Mm-hmm.
with. So that's one side, and then there's like totally the other side, which is more like city life, where I take these compositions of Greg and I kind of turn them around in my head as I come up with ideas for the arrangements, and I'm totally thinking about like all the eight arms that Tane has, or I'm thinking about like this really velvet, warm but exciting and energetic sound that Cole Glover's got,
Yeah.
and then Jeffrey Keezer is like, for another duality thing. On one side, he's somebody I've looked up to since I first got into jazz. He's even not even that much older than me, but he started so young.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah.
He, one of the last, if not the last, jazz messenger. And so I have this like, huge respect for him. And then he's like a brother to me, or a big brother, because he was so friendly and took me under his wing with David Sanborn.
Oh yeah, exactly. You were there.
And so I like, yeah, it's like, yeah, I'm writing thinking about him, but then he's also like the ultimate net. You know, he does this thing I aspire to do, which is be there musically for the person,
Yeah.
and be there personally for them. So he's like, Donald Brown says this thing about Jeff Keezer, that he has a brain for each hand.
Yeah. Sometimes when you hear him play, yeah.
And I'm sure, I mean, as kind of a sometimes a technically extrovert person myself, like I get a little tired of people noticing my chops all the time. It's like, hey, I'm more than speed and facility. Um, but Jeffrey Keezer manages to answer the questions that the music needs answered
Mm-hmm.
while, you know, doing his own brilliant thing. And they work together, they don't fight each other. And that's one of my goals, is to
Mm.
make those things work. And then of course Linda O
Yeah, yeah,
is I met her with the Betty Carter Jazz Ahead program, uh, which is another plug for why it's so important to fund and support artist programs. I mean, that
yeah.
was through the Kennedy Center, and it brought all of us together in one place to learn from the elder generation of masters, people like John Davis, great drummer, Matt White, who's one of my close friends, an amazing writer and trumpet player, Sherelle Cassidy, one of my oldest and best friends, amazing musician, and then Linda O. Mark
Mm.
Whitfield Jr. was there
Yeah.
too. So we all that was like our hot pot, like we all we all got like cooked and seasoned and flavored and so it's great to get to collaborate with her again.
With Tane, you played before, otherwise?
With Tane, gosh, I mean, I grew up listening to Black Codes
Sure.
and everything. I mean, that's like so. There's that side of Tane, but I got to work with him with Sanborn.
Ah, really? I didn't know he played with Sanborn.
Yeah, he was.
Really? Wow.
I mean, I'm sure they have a long relationship before I got in the mix. I was in the band with the quintet with David Sanborn for about 6 years.
Wow. How did you get that gig? Through Jeff, you mentioned, or?
No, no, that's actually how I really met Jeff.
Oh, okay.
I had recorded with Jeff with Christian McBride for the Movement Revisited,
Oh,
his
yeah, yeah. The
amazing suite on civil rights.
Yep.
But so with David, I'll try to. It's an interesting story. I
Oh,
met
please.
him at Juilliard uh, at a 10th anniversary of the alumni from the program, and they brought in several guests. Benny Golson was there, Renee Fleming, Monty Alexander. I think Christian was there, and then David Sanborn came and played, and I had a little solo on something. I didn't really think it was special or anything. I was playing bass trombone at the time, but David, in his like just really supportive kindness, came up to me and said, "Hey, man,
Oh, well.
gosh, wow, you don't hear the trombone played like that. Wow, you're really something." And I just, it's like, oh man, I grew up listening to you, and he was like, he's so humble. He was like, oh man, whatever, don't forget about that. He said, man, send me your info because we're gonna do some stuff together. I immediately emailed him all my information, and then I didn't hear from him for years. Um, until his manager called me in 2018 to go do a 5 week European tour with him.
Oh, wow.
And I said, hey, of course I was like, hey, this is great. I'm free. I'm able to do it. Um, yeah, how thanks for the call, but how did you get my number? And he said, well, Dave heard you on the radio. And he said, that sounds like the kid from Juilliard that I
Oh, wow, man.
and so I'm really, you know, sometimes people think CDs or media or vinyl or radio is
Yep.
not relevant. It's totally relevant. Just because things are older doesn't mean they're bad. Not all older things and media types are bad or not relevant anymore.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
How
so I
was it?
met. So the band was was Billy Kilson,
Oh, yeah,
uh,
of course. Yeah.
Jeff Keezer, and Ben Williams,
Wow, man.
and then we get a message from the road manager Wooly, and he says, hey, we have a gig coming up. We have a couple of musicians covering, uh, and he for that particular gig, I think it was Andy Ezrin, great pianist,
Hmm.
and it was James Genus, uh, and then Jeff Tane Watts.
Oh, man. It gets better and better.
I know. Well, I was like, this is the sub band. Oh my God! Not the sub. I just think that's how it works out. Sometimes everybody's busy. When you get to the level of a Jeff Watts or James Genus or Ben Williams, no one's hardly anyone's free
Mm,
at the time, all the time, every time,
yeah.
except me. I was always free.
No, no, but I mean, it must have been great, right, to play with David Sanborn.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
he's
I'm still processing. I think I'll be thinking about the lessons that he taught me for years.
mm,
Um, like just the most humble, modest confidence I've ever seen.
Oh, really? Oh, well.
Um, and then and then support, just wanting me to be myself, wanting me to try things, having someone that believes in me more than I believe in me. I mean, that's like, I'm gonna
Important.
cry if I talk about it too much, but like he just like he could he had some years on me, and he was very wise and a very intelligent cat, as a lot of great artists are. And he was able to see kind of, you know, the discussions in my head, and I can be very self-critical, and man, he just had like a way of like, they call like the horse whisperer,
Yeah, yeah.
he was like the Dease whisperer, man. He just could give me a look, or put his arm around my shoulders, or just like a smile or something, or even a joke, and it would just be the thing I needed to get to the next level. Um, so I really
It's
appreciate him,
important. Yeah.
and yeah, I miss him. I miss him a lot.
Sure. Yeah. I believe that. Yeah. Uh, Michael, I wanted to ask you. You mentioned before your mom said like you, why don't you become a doctor? But then you went to jazz trombone, which is like, why jazz trombone? I mean, did you hear like I don't know J.J. Johnson or someone, or like that you said
Yeah,
like shit, I want to play this instrument, or
yeah, that's man. Man, you got pretty close. I started playing band instruments when I was in fifth grade. I started on alto sax, and
okay,
I just, I have a musical talent, so like it felt good to be in a place where I was kind of good at things. Like I still had to practice and stuff, but I really found that I enjoyed playing in band, and it felt like a break from having to study and remember and memorize like facts and things, and formulas. And so at that point, as I got better and better, I started thinking like, hey, is there a way I can do less of of the academic type work and more of the music work? um I mean, it's a little self-serving, but it also means that I just kind of really loved the music. And when I found out that I had freedom to embellish and ad lib
mm,
and kind of put my own personality in the music, uh, in jazz, that's when jazz sort of like became, it's like, oh, I can like, I can do some things that I think are special, rather than having to do everything like a very certain way, right? And then so that, as a saxophonist, I was ish, you know, I I felt like I was talented and good at it for my age, and my, for not having private lessons and things. But it wasn't until I heard, like you said, like a trombonist play, that really the sound reached out and grabbed me, and told me that this is the direction you have to go. And
mm,
that was Curtis Fuller from Detroit.
oh yeah, okay,
Yeah. So it wasn't JJ. I hadn't heard JJ yet. We didn't have a jazz record store. We didn't really have jazz teachers in Augusta. And there were people that I just hadn't gotten next to yet.
yeah,
Like, and then I did study with Wycliffe Gordon, who's one of my mentors,
really,
but
oh man, okay,
I played saxophone when I studied with him. So
okay,
tell me about JJ or any of those cats while I was taking sax, an occasional sax lesson with him. So when I heard Curtis, like I just turned 17, and I just at that moment, like two things became important, like not playing saxophone, and then finding a trombone. So I did both of those just that night. I went over to my buddy's house, and he kind of loaned me his trombone through his bedroom window, and threw in the his mom didn't want him to give it to me. So sorry, Mrs. Miller, but apparently stole your trombone and gave it to me. And then I just we started working on how I was going to tell my band director, like, I don't play saxophone anymore. So, and then I would practice. Another kind of crazy thing is that I went from my senior year to getting a full scholarship at Florida State on trombone, and then transferring a year later to Juilliard on a full
well,
scholarship.
well,
So, so there's like how does that happen in this short a time period? And
A lot of work
you know,
there.
yeah, a lot of work.
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot of it. My parents had just recently divorced, and it was pretty painful. And and I just dumped all of my excess energy, rather than drinking or drugs or getting into, getting a friend scene, or that wasn't productive. I had a trombone, and I was in love with it, and so I fell asleep practicing. My mom reminded me one time that every day she would hear trombone come from my room until I just passed out.
Wow, man. Yeah.
I used to fall asleep holding it, like in my bed, and then I would wake up and just be so terrified that I rolled over or dropped it or something. And honest to God, it's a silly story, but I don't think I counted my hours because it was just always practicing.
Yeah.
Something I wouldn't recommend, but it worked out for me. Is I mean, I really should have been in some sort of therapy because the divorce really rocked my world. But some days it would just be so hard. I didn't feel like going to school and being around people. It's like what people today would say, like a mental health day,
Mm,
or you could actually get a doctor's note from a
yeah.
physician. But back in 1999, that this wasn't possible. So I would skip school, uh, and I had a way. I had broken a pane of glass in my dad's house and unlocked the back window, and I would sneak into his house while he was at work and just practice, like
Woo.
all.
Yeah.
So I loved it. Uh, I used to act like I had a stomach ache in lit class, and her name was Miss Slusher. I said, Miss Slusher, I'm. Do you think I could use the restroom? My stomach is upset, and that's kind of like code word for, I might be in the bathroom for a minute. So she'd be like, "Of course, Michael, sure." So I would go directly get my trombone from the band room, get my little CD player and headphones, and I would be learning solos. You
Uh,
know, and sometimes she would forget about me till the period was up, and then sometimes she would find me in the practice room, and be like, "Michael, it's been 20 minutes. Put that down and get back to class."
yeah.
Silly stuff. Silly stuff.
No, but I mean, yeah, that's why you're good. Why you became good because you invested time, and it's like you
Oh
said,
yeah.
this energy. Like my parents divorced also when I was 17, and I was the same. Instead of
Hmm.
putting the energy into, like you said, other things, I was just practicing like 8 hours a day guitar and just
Oh, that's cool to hear. Yeah, you really understand it. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. When you were saying that, I was like, yeah, shit, that's like my story. Like I was
Yeah.
carrying my guitar everywhere. And
Well, I remember since you said that, it reminded me that I remember just feeling like, you know what, like the trombone will always be here for me. I was like, it's not going to leave me. It's not going to change.
yeah,
It's like it's a very innocent feeling, but it's very hard. It just like when everything was changing, I was like, this thing is stable,
mm.
and that's cool. Yeah, thanks for sharing that. That's yeah, instruments can be music is so healing
Oh man,
sometimes.
absolutely, absolutely, man. I'm teaching also every day after afternoon, and many students come to lessons, and it's like a psychotherapy for them as well. Sometimes they talk for 15 minutes about their problems, in school or family, and then we kind of play. But it's like,
Yeah,
it's
that's real.
real. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's like that where I'm at too, and when I go to when I do master classes and I'll talk about something, I'll play a lot of exercises or things I could show the students, and but when we start talking about things that are important to them, like personal things, they seems to go a long way.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So it helps. I mean, it's helped to me to try to be more transparent about those things, so that people don't it's important to get a full picture of like what it takes to be an artist. Uh,
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's not so easy sometimes. Yeah,
No, no,
you know,
no, but it's very fun.
but it's fun. Yeah.
Both my parents did like jobs they didn't like. They were in sales and mortgages and things and but kind of mundane things, and they both have kind of big personalities, so they were good at sales. But one thing my mom always said to me, that I took to heart was like she said, we do what we do because we have to.
Mm,
You
yeah,
know, you're young, you need to do good in school, practice your instrument so you can do what you want to do. You do what you love doing. Don't be like us where this is basically all you can do.
to pay the bills. Yeah.
Yeah, that meant a
Yeah.
lot to me. So I really and I try to tell my daughters the same thing. It's if you have a choice about what you do for a living, that's like that's it's a big part of freedom, I
Oh
think.
man, it's nice if your job is not a job. I mean, it's a job, but it's like also a hobby or your love or like
Yeah,
I know tomorrow I'll teach, and I spoke to my neighbor before, and he's like, yeah, tomorrow it's Monday, it's work, and I was like, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's work teaching as well, but I'm like, I don't feel like, oh shit, it's Monday, It's like, oh, cool, I'll teach again. It's nice, you
it
know.
also helps.
I don't,
It also helps having real like what I guess what you could call like a real job. Like a real job isn't something that hurts you, like hurts your back. You know,
oh yeah, that's a different story, man. Like
like I've had some I worked outside one summer, like doing manual labor. That man, I talk about a practice incentive. That's the best. Like go out and rake leaves for 8 hours. Come back in. You got a row of blisters and then you got to do it again the next day. So
yeah.
and I remember once that summer I came back, I had corns all over my hands. They're really hard and I was it was good, but I was like, man, I don't want to do this for a living. This is
Yeah,
terrible.
yeah.
Or picking up bus trays full of dishes. And I remember I was working at IHOP when I was 15, and I had to get a back brace because I was a little guy, and it was hard to pick up.
Mm.
Once you put like 12 really heavy ceramic plates in, it's hard to lift. And I remember lifting one, and right on the top, there was a plate with a runny egg and a loogie someone had spit, and then a cigarette put out in the egg, and then like a napkin where someone had obviously blown their nose in it, and I was like, oh no, I don't think I could do this anymore. I gotta practice. I gotta go do something else.
Yeah. It's a
So
privilege, man. That you get to do what you do, or we do what we do. But like you invested your time, you paid your dues, and
yeah, yeah,
so
dues are
it's yeah. But Michael, I wanted to ask you about New York, just like coming from Georgia, going to New York, and how was that like for you the first years in New York? I know you obviously you've played then with everyone. I think I checked. I
yeah.
have like 10 records by you as a band leader, and already on those records, it's like who's who. And then you played in all those big bands from Charles Tolliver to
Oh
Christian
yeah,
McBride with Mansion and everyone. How did that go in the beginning for you, the New York story?
yeah. Oh, that's a lot. That's the It was a huge shock to me moving to New York, being around so many different people, and the just the amount of people wore me out. Just and then having to walk everywhere and take the train, not having a car. This was all like brand new to me. And what really helped was making my friends in New York City. Like I have a couple of close friends that we still stay in touch with from Juilliard. Um, uh, and then getting outside and meeting people on the scene in New York was really
Mm.
helpful to me. Um, that was how I got a lot of my first gigs, was by going out to sessions and going to music stores and just getting to know people that worked there.
Mm.
Um, yeah, yeah. So that acclimation period was. was tough because Juilliard was a new program. They, were working out the bugs that every new program has. We were all young. I mean, I was a teenager, so you know, I had maturity uh, issues, and
Sure.
not knowing how to get rest and balance myself. It's a lot to get together as a young person. So I try to, as I'm in my 40s now, I try to like have a little more patience and understanding. Um, and then being a parent helps with that too.
Absolutely, yeah.
Um, so Juilliard provided some really great opportunities. I actually got to meet one of my heroes, Jimmy Heath, and started
Mm,
playing big band after he came to Juilliard and did a master class. So
oh,
I think I played valve trombone, and I played a couple of correct chord changes, and he was like, "Oh man, okay, well, you know." He hired myself, Brandon Lee, and one of the Anderson twins to play at a show, and that big band introduced me to a whole lot of other people. So one of the things I encourage young musicians to do when they get to New York is as much as you want to work on your own voice and develop your individual identity.
yeah.
Man, please do not look down or hold your nose at the large ensemble scene because it's super diverse. I mean, there's a variety of styles and types of music you can play in a big band. It's not just like swing, swing,
Mm,
sing, 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 or you know, string of pearls. It's that music's great too, but those are stereotypes that like all big bands are just one small era of the big band era.
yeah,
And then every time you do a gig, you especially in the beginning, you meet 18 new people.
true.
Right. And then if you can play, you have 18 more opportunities to get work. So like fast forward that, to 2006, I think, I on the advice of another mentor, David Gibson, great trombonist that I look up to a lot. Um, he actually told me, he said, "Man, you recorded this nice CD. You should send it to Slide Hampton." And I would never have thought to do that. Being I'd just be embarrassed or too modest. And he was like, "No, you worked really hard on it. You sound good. Slide would really appreciate it." So I wrote Slide a handwritten letter. Long
Mm.
story short, Slide calls me to play
No,
with
okay, really? Oh man.
Vanguard with this amazing small trombone band. And so that week the band was nuts. It was Michael Weiss on piano, Dwayne Burno, rest in peace, on
Yeah.
bass, Greg Hutchison on drums, and then Steve Davis, Jonathan Volzak, um, Max Seigel, Slide Hampton, and then myself. And Slide made me play lead, which like completely changed my life. I just him believing that I could play high notes helped my high register get better.
Mm.
And then everybody, thank you, John. Everybody came through the Vanguard that week to pay respect and homage to Slide. So people like Nick Payton,
Oh yeah.
um, Charles Tolliver, John Lee from the Dizzy Band, uh, Roy Hargrove.
Oh, so that's how all those gigs then happened on the basis of that one gig. Oh man,
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
insane.
So I mean, it's
Oh,
crazy. I have so much still gratitude for David Gibson. He just sometimes you just need to tell somebody the next move to make, and I'm so glad I listened. But that's one of my strengths. I mean, I have strengths and weaknesses, just like everybody, and I have a lot of weaknesses. We'll leave those out for now. But
yeah.
one of my gifts is I listen. Like I consider and I listen. I really try hard to do that, especially when someone has achieved more than me or it has more experience or, I don't just do things out of a snap decision, but I really think and I consider, even if it's difficult or hard for me, so hearing somebody like David Gibson, who I've transcribed and has played in a lot of bands that I look up to and has his own recordings out. When he told me, hey, send that to Slide, it let me get past my own inhibitions and all of my
Mm.
own baggage. And I was like, you know what? What if I just trust this cat? Because what he's saying makes sense. And let me just write a really humbling letter here. Like that I'm not trying to send him the CD like I'm some kind of great player or something. I just, you know, out of respect and love, um, I would love for Slide to know how much he's influenced me. And fortunately, that's how he took it.
It's incredible that he listened, actually, I mean, and took time to check it out. And I mean,
So great. He was so great. He called me. He said,
that's,
Mike, I've listened to your CD 3 times today. Are you available every September? It was, I'll never
that's
forget it.
beautiful, man. Yeah. You mentioned the CD. You become, and before we talked about you being a band leader, and uh, how did that develop for you? I mean, you seem to be comfortable as a band leader, considering the amount of records you've done. Like, when did you start band leading, actually? And
I started in 2004.
already, wow,
It
okay,
was about when I was a senior in college.
wow,
Uh, and I really, I'm a very shy person, underneath all the layers of like having to be an extrovert a little bit to teach and to be in front of people, I had to get past that a little bit. But um, I basically, my method was, as a 21-year-old back then or 22-year-old, I was looking, it's like, all right, how are people doing this? You know, and I don't know if he knows this or not, but one of my big role models for how to step out from being a student into a professional was Jeremy Pelt.
really interesting.
You know, my good friend Sherelle Cassidy was very close with Jeremy, and so I got to see him kind of up close, but a little bit at a distance. And Jeremy's maybe 5 or 6 years older than myself, and I was like, wow, this cat is always looking clean. He's booking gigs, he's writing tunes, he's playing on people's records, uh, and I think somehow I learned about him as a guest musician on people's records that he felt like he needed to do a certain amount before he's established like a considerable artist fee.
Mm,
And this might have been at his place because he used to have people over to do hangs and listen to records. Like that was something else that I respected about him is like how much he embraced some of these like community old school ways of like bringing people together and
yeah,
listening to records. Like that should never change. Like people should always get together around a set of speakers and listen to music and talk about it and share. I mean, that's one of the things that's really special
yeah.
about being a jazz musician. And he was like, somehow it came up. He said, well, how much do you charge for being on a record? And he was like, well, until I did 20 records, as a side person, the experience was more important to me than the payment. And that made a huge impact on me. I hope I'm remembering it right, but it made me think it's like, wow, this person cares so much about their craft. They don't want someone to use their gifts if he doesn't feel like they're ready.
Mm,
And so it's just kind of observing people like Jeremy and Steve Davis,
yeah,
uh, and like the Strickland brothers. They're a couple years older than me. They were already playing with their band Twilife
yeah, yeah.
around, and just trying to modeling, not trying to be innovative. I mean, that's the thing where I feel like everybody's trying to like hit a home run on every swing,
Yeah,
or they're trying to like strike oil with every pickaxe thing. It's like, come on, like there's so much to learn about how so many of us have entered this music. Lead a
yeah,
band, play in someone's band, be influenced. We you wouldn't have all of the beauty of Herbie Hancock without his study of Wynton Kelly and Sonny
absolutely, yeah.
Clark and Teddy Wilson and Art Tatum And you know, it's I'm a big fan of that, of understanding the lineage and letting the lineage support you in your search for individuality.
Oh man, yeah, that's so important. I mean, in jazz, that's yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
that's
But
what
it's
what.
tough. It's tough. It's tough because the hot new different thing gets rewarded so much, and
Yeah,
and it's a balance because if something's new and exciting and amazing, it should be rewarded. But you know we have a you know jazz is young and America is United States of America is young, and sometimes in our youth, you know, we go all or nothing at all. You know, so it's like the you're either all into new music and old music is
yeah, yeah.
more corny, or it's like if it ain't swinging, it ain't really jazz. It's like come on now, don't make jazz fight each other.
True,
You know,
true. It's already on the fringe in a way, so you know,
yeah,
it's like,
it's,
yeah,
yeah. It's going to be even fringier if you like set up cage matches between like
yeah,
traditionalists and individualists or contemporary new music people.
yeah,
That don't make them fight each other. I don't. We can all like support and dig each other.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. You know, Steve
That was
Swell against Michael Dease. You know,
oh yeah
round one. Like, no, I'm
yeah.
kidding.
I love Steve Swell.
Oh, me too. Yeah.
The yeah it shouldn't it I forgot what I was going to tell you, but it was funny anyway.
Now, I wanted to ask you also this. How was it for you in the beginning when you know presenting music to the musicians and like how did you learn these skills? Like through playing with Slide or with Christian McBride and all these guys? You know, where did you learn the craft of band leading? Like you know, what's right and what's wrong and
I learned that like trial and error
yeah, right, yeah,
because that's a great question because one of the kind of gripes Ulysses Owens and I talk about this quite a bit is that we like to try to provide or to make opportunities just find gigs where we can hire younger people than us um, because we missed a lot of that when
mm,
we were
yep,
it seemed like a lot of the elders people in their 40s when we were in our 20s it seemed like they liked hiring their friends that were their age and at some point as artists gain more stature and more respect more cred like share the cred. That's what I say. Share the cred,
mm,
like branch out, like let people go so that you can bring the next generation in. But what happens is people get so like clingy with people they're comfortable with. Um, you know, with that I don't want to name names. I mean, but it's obvious if anyone looks out there, you know, people using the same bands all the time, never getting any new blood in.
mm,
And so, like when you're 20 years old in New York at Juilliard, it's like, hey, I want to play with older people, but there's no room.
yeah, yeah,
So, so like my first record is all is a co-led project with me and Chris Madsen called the Dease Madsen Quintet, and it's all of our friends from school. Now, like all those friends are like famous now, but but we were nobody knew any of us at that
sure,
age. So, you know, yes, you know, the first side person record I was really on that wasn't a peer was Illinois Jacket's last live recording.
oh wow, man,
We didn't even know he was recording that.
wow,
So,
oh,
but yeah, so I booked my first record date with my friend Chris, and then Jamani Smith, the lead player with Michael Bublé. He did a project called Grooveology with a lot of his school buddies, and then Brandon Lee did a record called Absolutely, um, maybe that's it, yeah,
mm,
and so but we're all basically hiring each other,
yeah,
and I love that. I love the camaraderie and the family vibe that entails, but we're all brand new, and I just wasn't. I really wasn't trying to only exclusively work with my school friends because they just don't have that much to teach me. Like, and I tell students that too. Like, have your band, have your friends play music, grow and learn together. But how can you learn deeper things about music from people with the same level of experience as you?
Mm, yep.
Like, go out and seek the elders and get some training, get some apprenticeship. And it's hard, like everybody that I've asked to play with has not said yes. But yeah, so that was sort of my impetus because I'm trying to model my career after my heroes: Steve
Mm,
Davis, Curtis Fuller, Conrad Herwig, Robin Eubanks,
yeah.
Fred Wesley, one of my favorites, Steve Turre, obviously. Like their whole sound is built upon these iconic experiences with the legends of the music.
Yeah.
And there's a type of like affirmation, like that you get from that. And now that I've gotten some of that, I want to give that affirmation like to people that need it.
So important. Yeah. Yeah.
It's going to help them grow better. I don't, like how many more records do I need to do with like the same people that I've been playing with for 20 years? Like, no, we did that already.
Mm,
Let's give us a break. Let's come back when we're 50 and do something. So like the same thing with Tane. Like like I learned so much from playing with him, and his his experience brought and drew so much out of my approach. I played differently on this 2 disc City Life than I played in any of
yeah.
my
Yeah.
live.
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
Like it's just like a whole, it's like an alter ego, like a whole nother person. Like seeing Tane's spirit in the moment and the joy that he has on his face when he plays. Man, all the stuff I worry about when I'm in the studio. Oh, is this perfect? Did I miss this chord? Man, all that stuff was gone. I was just
Mm,
thinking about being present, listening, talking, having a dialogue, thinking about like the beautiful contours and
yeah.
the power of the music and space and silence and sounds that are unusual. It was very, very, very fun and special. And then having Linda and Jeff and Nicole, like they're just
Yeah.
like the it's like the world's best team of surgeons or ERs,
Absolutely, man. Yeah.
thing I need, like I can count on them. Like it's just and that's and I have my daughter with me and she sings on a track. She
Yeah.
sight read it. It just felt right. It's like Brooklyn, sing this. We went through the tune. She's got perfect pitch, so she just nailed it. And yeah, so I really like the you know the way that the musicians all kind of you know I mean they all have a very strong presence in New York City,
Oh, man. This band. Yeah.
and so the you know the fight between the grit and the glitz of the city. I mean I couldn't ask for better people to capture that.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I mean, we kind of brought it now where we started to the new record, and I wanted
Right.
to, I mean, which is perfect because I wanted to ask you, kind of, like, are you gonna promote this record somehow, or are you coming to Europe also in the future for some gigs or tours,
Yeah,
or what are the
I'm
plans for this year?
I'm talking to a friend of mine in Italy, Andrea Andreoli, and we're trying to work out something in 2026.
Hmm.
Europe. I was just in Finland last week. I wish I had done
Oh, really?
more. Not last week, last month, but um, right now the only gigs that we have are stateside. There'll be one. There's one this weekend in May, and then we do the CD release at Smalls in June.
Oh, fantastic.
Uh, so not a whole ton of gigs, but um, my social media stuff should be full of tips and things on that side of it. Yeah, yeah, that's the we got some videos coming out too from the session.
Oh,
That's something
fantastic. That's always nice. Yeah, I love those.
actually that I haven't done that much of because I kind of don't want to think about cameras when I'm playing music, and so this was the first time that I had a you know a video crew in for the whole time.
Wow,
So
beautiful.
in 3 weeks before the release date, I guess that would be May 30th. I think the first video is gonna come out.
Fantastic. Beautiful, man. Yeah, I love watching videos in the studio of guys, it's always fun to see, how people react and I don't know, I like that.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
just
no, it's fun for me watching it too because I've just never seen it. I never really see videos of myself playing, or if somebody puts one up, it's not usually not with my consent. So
sure.